Pay me my money.
You came in.
I was rolling.
Coming in hot.
I'm done. Y'all are funny. Well, welcome back to the Rescue World podcast, where we aim to inspire, equip, and empower the next gen leaders to make an impact beyond their norm. This conversation is special because we get to flip the script, but I feel like it's even more special just because like the heart behind the conversation, like. Yeah, I've like had the opportunity to like do life, ministry. I mean, we do everything together. And so like seeing your story like unfold over the past several years, it's not only been inspiring, but it's been convicting and challenging to really just go after next generation. And so I'm really excited for the conversation because I feel like it's layered. Like there's so much to your story. Sure. I know you tell a lot about your story, but I just feel like there's not a lot of people who see the behind the scenes of it. Like the fight to really stay in it, you know? Like I think the glamorous part of ministry is often shown, and like the assemblies, the speaking, and that stuff is like, it's beautiful, and it's like, again, it's like external, but like nobody gets to see that fight and that wrestle. And so I think with that, like if you had to trace it back to like the very beginning, like when was that exact moment where you knew you were called to this work?
We're coming in hot already, huh? Yeah. I love it. This is a really cool moment to be on a podcast with you. So I just want to stop and first say thanks for being the host and for, rocking with me the way you have for all these years. So just want to insert that first. The moment that... rephrase the last part of the question.
Yeah, if you had to trace it back to like the exact moment in time, like maybe even like how you felt, where you were when you sensed that calling to the work that you're doing now.
Well, I really take it back to I was 17 years old, and like just very true story. I feel like I had an encounter with Jesus when I was 15, and I thought like my life was gonna be like radically changed forever. And then I came back and life happened. My uncle got sent to prison, and I started just like going playing the world in the church game for a while. And then I got kicked out of a church. Like I was, still a church fan, the whole thing, right? And but I remember there was a moment that I actually got a call from the pastor to come back to the church. I was 17 years old. And I thought, man, I ruined this guy's name at the church. Like he vouched for me. He like fought for me. And then Nancy obviously did this. Like she was the main one fighting for me. But this pastor was the one that like his name was on the line in a lot of ways. And he called me and he said he had a dream about me and that I was supposed to come back. And I just thought, there's no way you want me back at your church. Like
I wouldn't have.
Right, I'm saying,
better than me.
I was a mess, and I just 17. I was like, if I'm gonna go back, this will be the place that I draw the line in the sand. I walk across the line, and I'm not going backwards to the gang life and that. And I remember this like quiet prayer or like this whisper in my heart that was just like, you know what? I want to spend the rest of my life reaching teenagers who might be going through what I'm going through right now. Like pain, trauma, brokenness, getting in a lot of trouble. That honestly was like the call to the work. Yeah. And I went to Bible school and then the ministry thing. I didn't know people could be in ministry as like a profession. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I just thought like, I'm going to go reach a bunch of teenagers. I knew I didn't want to do like kids because I had a lot of experience in kids ministry too, but teenagers, that was like the actual like, bam. Now fast forward, there's plenty of moments I was reminded of the call and reminded of like, oh, this is it. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. I feel like one of my proudest things is that I hadn't sold out. Like,
what do you mean by that? Like,
I think it's... in the church world, with the Big C church, right? It's so easy to idolize ministry in a church context and climb the pastoral ladder. Like, so I'll go from being a youth pastor here to the young adult pastor here to the associate pastor, all the way up until if I'm the senior pastor or the church planter, and I remember I was working for free as a youth pastor. Like I wasn't getting paid to be a youth pastor. And I knew if I submitted a resume to almost any other church, I could have wrote my ticket. Like I could have got my foot in the door somewhere. And I didn't. And I just felt really, I don't want to go climb that ladder. I want to go after kids that are not coming to the church. So when you think of like reminded of the call or like really like this is the work I'm called to, I thought I want to spend the rest of my life going after kids that were like me, not church kids and not people that are bringing 500 church kids to a Wednesday night youth group. Like, how are we going after kids that are on the fringes, in the margins, not, showing up for the thing? So, those are the two like things that come to my mind the most. Like,
Yeah, when I love that you talk about like that sensing and that knowing. I feel like this generation like struggles with like, man, what am I called to? What's my purpose? And like there is this like wrestle. There's this tension of like, okay, I'm gifted in this area, but then I also sense a calling. And so I feel like what was that wrestle like? Because from what it sounds like, it almost sounds like it was like an immediate thing, but I could be wrong. Like was there some resistance to step into that, or was it like, boom, I'm stepping into this, I'm jumping in, I'm ready to go?
That's a great question. I think there wasn't much resistance for a couple of reasons, and some of it could have been contextually. The situation that I was in didn't provide space for much resistance. I was serving at the second largest outreach ministry in America. Like, we were reaching thousands, and I was a part of that. And I felt like I was a part of that. So when I came back, when I actually like had that whisper, like I want to go after teenagers, I just stepped right back into what was right in front of me. Now, if that wasn't in front of me, I don't know if there would have been a wrestle or not. I just know like that was just what I did. That was what was right there. That was what was available to me, and I went in, no questions asked, right? So no, there was no wrestle. The other thing that comes to my mind is, I think so often in the faith world, we're waiting for a word from God or a voice, or we're waiting for him to crack the sky and say like, go here, do this, step out. Like, one of my heroes in the faith that I've just kind of watched from a distance for a long time, a guy named Bill Wilson up in New York. He actually had the largest outreach ministry in America, and they were running buses in like the projects of New York. And radical story, but I love, he's just said this, and it just, I'll never forget it. He said, people ask him all the time how he got called to do the work he did. And he said, I never got a call. He said, I seen a need and I fulfilled it. And then you look at like what, and I feel that deeply here at RAG. Like I feel like God didn't did I get prophetic words along the way? I did, like that would like speak to where I'd be and things like that. But like, it wasn't a call. It was like, how do we go? What's the solution we're called to be? Yeah. Let's go be the solution, and then let's just see what happens from there. And so, that's that. It was immediate, but it was because I wasn't looking for the audible voice or the spooky moment or the like prophetic word. It was just that inner like, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life doing this. Let's go.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, when I hear like the part of your story, obviously, because I feel like there's so much depth and layers to it, I hear a quote that Dr. Matthew Stevenson used to always say, like, great men and women are born for the time that they're needed the most. When you hear that, like, what comes to mind?
Oh, man, I agree. I think now I'll get a little like theological here, and depending on where you stand, I don't know how this lands fully with people, but all good. Like, I think before people were born into the earth, there was a problem that they were created to solve. And I think that almost categorically across the board true of people. Like I think we were all placed on the earth for a reason and not on accident, that there's a divine designer in heaven who uniquely orchestrated not just our like physical bodies, our spiritual giftings, our wirings, our minds, the way we're like just so like specific and designed. And that's not on accident. Like that actually like was for a reason, for a purpose. And so I love that from Apostle Matt, just like great men and women are only born for the time they're needed the most, which to me makes me think if I was born for the 70s, Rescue a Generation might not be a thing.
That's a thought.
Yeah, just like, and I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying like, this is needed now, like where we are is needed right now. And so, I resonate with that. I like that thought a lot.
Yeah. I know you've told like some of the story about like that wrestle like during COVID. I know COVID really like hit a lot of organizations similar to the work that we do. You know, money just kind of got dried up. I mean, we went through a pandemic worldwide and that was intense. I feel like there was a lot of grief. There was just a lot of loss and uncertainty. But can you just share for those who maybe haven't, heard it, like what was it like really fighting not to give up?
Some good questions. Fighting not to give up. Well, I want to say this about money, and I want to be a little bit vulnerable here. There's not much that'll throw me off like money. And you know that personally. Like, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I'm like I am a very cool, calm, and collected person. I'm passionate. I got a lot of energy. Yeah. But like, I'm not a hothead. I'm not like I don't have like angry outbursts or anything like that. When COVID happened, the ironic part was I didn't come from money. We didn't come from money. It wasn't like we were being bankrolled by an organization or a denomination. We literally started with nothing, like nothing. And you hear those like church stories or ministry stories. Like it was just 8 of us in the basement, and then like, and then now look at it like. I mean, it was like 3 of us at Starbucks, like, and with no money, like none, zero, and not knowing that God would provide even the way He did before COVID. Like I remember, like getting a first couple of those school contracts, and like, I mean, you know me, like well, 2 things. It wasn't just the school contracts; it was those. But even getting some large donations, I was shook. I was like, can you believe? So much so that I would, because I like to share like what God's doing, and I'm very vocal, I would share it with people. And then I had friends that felt like I was flexing on them, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that no more. Like, and I realize now that maybe I was just probably in the wrong circle at the time, like, you know what I mean? Because like I feel like you should be able to like celebrate those big wins. Yeah. So back to the money conversation, because we didn't come from nothing, and then COVID happened. Man, that money got funny, and it got real funny. And I remember like I literally thought, you know what? I had to. I'll go work at a hotel overnight.
I was just gonna ask.
Like literally, I'll go just get a overnight job so that we could keep doing this. Like I like and because again, the call I had never questioned. It wasn't like, but did I want to quit? Heck yeah, I wanted to quit. Like I don't want the pressure of this. Like, fast forward. I mean, shoot, even after COVID, like I mean, God opened up a lot of resources to us, and we kind of overnight became $1 million organization. There's a lot of challenges that come with that. And so that wasn't the only place that I wanted to quit. Like, I feel like, I mean, and you've seen like the tears, you've seen the stress, you've seen the, man, I don't know how this is going to come about. I don't know what we're going to do. It's been hard. Like, yeah, none of this has been easy at all. Rewarding, sure, yeah, but not easy. And so, yeah, I'm just thinking about like plenty of opportunities to quit, to like walk away, to do something different. I always tell people like, yo, I know I could go make it in corporate if I wanted to, like, and I could actually go ball out, like, you know what I mean, like. Money has been like that, like Achilles heel to me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that God's doing in my own heart concerning it, like even just being okay with having it. Like that's all new. Remember when we moved? Mm-hmm. Like we moved into a really nice apartment. You remember this, right? Mm-hmm. And I felt bad. I literally felt guilty. Like I was like, I don't think this is okay. We're serving students who are struggling every single day. Yeah. And we get to live in something considered luxury. Like I was wrestling with that. And I realized like, man, God created a safe haven there for us that we needed to be able to have so that we can serve people well. But all of that was like just this rewiring. So, obviously, this went way money heavy, but like...
Yeah, but if I could pause for a second and really kind of maybe just take a Selah, because I imagine leaders all around the world, you know, in youth ministry and ministry just in general, that, man, there's a temptation to give up. If you had 30 seconds to just speak into them and say, like, what would you tell them?
You know, I have a thought that's coming to me. I normally don't take this long to respond to a question like that. I'm like, normally I just shoot it off, but I just feel like this one is hitting like close to my heart. So it's like, I want to put the words together really well. And a part of this is because I don't want to be irresponsible either. Sure. Like, I think there's some of this where you're like, you could just be like, yo, keep going. God got you. Like, he's going to provide. And like, right. And I trust
which
that.
He does,
yes, he does. Like, you know, like, you know, some people need to go get a job. And like, you know what I mean? Not just, no, but I would say this. I would say, follow the burden, like, the burden you carry for whatever it is, ministry, a generation, a people group. Follow the burden, but also count the cost. People don't sign up for ministry to get rich. Well, maybe nowadays they do, but like this is not a pretty affluent, like, you know, job to have. Like, and just know, that as long as you're, and then the third very practical thing I would say, like, just follow your burden, count the cost, and just be a solution to a problem. Like, even practically, financially, when you're ready to tap out, the reward that you get from solving problems is one of those things that just keeps you in the game. I think we got a lot of people in ministry that are not solving problems. So it's easy to want to back out because they're not seeing fruit. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to see fruit right away all the time. I mean, it took us like 4 years before we really started seeing some traction. But like, man, follow the burden, count the cost, just know what you signed up for. And ultimately go solve a problem and watch what God will do with that. So those are my thoughts on
That's great.
Staying in the game. Thanks for that. Thanks for slowing me down.
You're welcome. I'm going to pivot a little bit. But so you started Rescue a Generation. You wrote Rescue a Generation, Reaching the Least, the Last, the Lost.
Yep.
Years after you started the organization. Why did you feel like now was the time? Like, now was the time to write this book?
I love this question. This is great. This is actually really fun. Have your wife interview y'all. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Ironically, so I have 2 books out. A lot of people don't know that. Okay. Rescue a Generation was going to be my first book. Okay. I remember I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they asked me to create a training for people that were riding the buses. And so I was like, oh, heck yeah, I got this. So I did my homework, came up with this acronym, FAIL. Okay, FAIL was a training that I did. I knew when I came up with FAIL, it would be a book. I knew immediately. This is going to be a book sometime. I didn't know when or how or what. I didn't know how to write a book. Look, I flunked English, Spanish, like all of that. So like I didn't even know like I could write a book. But I knew that. So I remember moving out here, and then God started opening up opportunities to train at conferences and like train youth workers. My go-to was FAIL. Like I was like, I'm gonna train you how not to fail. Train you how not to fail. That was it. And I thought I was gonna write the book, and I literally had like an outline of the book, of chapters. It evolved over the time, but like I had this thing in this app that I don't even use no more. It was like an old app. I forgot what it was, but
was
like
it Grammarly or no?
No, I had something in the Grammarly, but it was like this. It was like note-taking app. I literally forgot the name of it. And what happened was I didn't have the courage to actually write it. And I hesitated to actually like put the chapters together and stuff. I had like an outline or whatever, but I didn't do the other part. And then I had that real public fall that I actually talk about in the book too. Like, and for the first 3 months of that fall, God told me, get off social media. He said, what I'm about to do is not for them, it's for you. And I felt like I just had to like, because you know, as ministers, like God will start doing something in your heart, and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta share this with the world, like to show like that I got revelation or that I like, got some substance or whatever. So he said, don't do that. So 3 months in, I'm off social media. I'm like, and I get this like idea about sonship, and I felt this urgency to write a book on sonship. I felt like go now, and I did. I self-published, whatever. I didn't know where it was gonna go or whatever, but I just knew what God was doing in my heart at the time. So I was like, bam. I actually forgot about this. I think I was just like, okay, this will be the book, whatever. Like maybe this is the one I was gonna write. Maybe this wasn't gonna be a book, whatever. And then I had a conversation with my friends over at Lifeway. And at the very end of the conversation, he asked me a question. And I was doing training still on FAIL, but he asked me a question, and he said, man, what could we do for you? And I just want to give y'all a warning. Don't ever ask me that, because I will tell you. And I said, well, actually, y'all do publishing, right? And I said, I just want to know if I write the book, can I pitch it to you? Like I just thought you write the book first and then like pitch it. And he said, well, that's not how it works, actually. He said, if you have an idea for a book, you could pitch the idea and we'll come alongside you to write it. And literally, like, that's exactly what happened. He set up a meeting maybe a few weeks later and wrote the book, and it had the pressure of Lifeway on me. Like, so then it was like, this thing has to come out by like, this time frame.
Deadlines.
So deadlines, all of that. It was all different. So yeah.
You said earlier that if you were born in the 70s, that rag wouldn't exist. So I'm just curious, like, why do you think the book is important now? Like, why does this generation need this book? Oh,
good. So I talk about it in the first chapter of the book, where, if you go back like decades in youth ministry, I feel like youth ministry back in the day was like an amenity to the church. It was like when we go on cruise ships, we went on a cruise ship, and you got so many things you can do on a cruise ship. I feel like that's what youth ministry was like. Hey, sign up for this so you can have fun with kids. You can go play games. You can show up at their sporting events. You can do all the fun things with them, go on these, excursions or whatever. I felt like that's what it used to be like. And then, like, you fast forward to the life that we're in, the current time frame that we're in, the chaos that's all around us, and the decline of just, like, the culture and, like, pain, trauma, the whole 9 yards. I mean, you sign up for youth ministry today, you're not signing up for a cruise ship. You're signing up for people that were once on a cruise ship that are already overboard and drowning. And then how do you help somebody who's currently drowning? Well, you cannot yell from the sideline, like here, you can't. You got to actually get in it with them. And I just think I started seeing in ministry, and I thought actually originally this was only contextualized for like urban, at-risk kids who come from a lot of trauma. Man, it's really affluent kids that are jacked up right now, that are broken and messed up, and they need just as much rescuing because they're drowning too. They're just drowning in different stuff. And so, man, kids are drowning all around us, and a book like this will help the adults who want to help those students to not drown. It'll also help the adults to not drown while you're saving somebody else.
There might be people who are like, man, I feel that, I hear that, and then they may look at the book and they're like, okay, reaching the least, the last, the lost. Can you define what you mean by that? Like, who is that?
Yeah, great question. It's the kid that's falling through the cracks of society. And I love the who who is that, because while on one hand it is the urban and at risk, and it's the marginalized, the kids in the fringes, it's also the kid being overlooked by their dad. Like, it's the kid whose mom is neglecting them. It's the kid with step parents that's getting no love at home. And some of these situations are not in urban communities. These are like rural, suburban, and so, man, the least, the last, and the lost are, like, I would just say kids that are really hurting. They're struggling. And I would say this, they're probably not running to your youth group. Like that's probably the emphasis on that. Like the least, last, and lost. I think of the story of David, right? In a lot of ways, David was the least, last, and lost. Now, when he was to get selected to be king, he wasn't even in the room there. Like he was on the backside of the mountain. He didn't even get asked to come to get a chance to be selected. He was like that. And so I think it's those kids who are not being invited to the room. They're not your star athletes. They're not your smart kids. They're not the church kids. These are kids that are falling through the cracks of society, being overlooked by a lot of people, and God wants to rescue them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. I've read your book. Well, I hope I did, actually.
I think you did.
Imagine I didn't.
No. I just want to say, like,
I did read the book.
That was actually really cool, though, to experience like your wife actually reading what you wrote. Like, and I you would think like people do that. I know. I'm just saying, like, maybe. But maybe they don't. I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I was really special. I was fire. Yeah.
But there's a rawness, like a gutter, kind of like a hood. No, it is, and I feel like it. To me, at least, it almost feels like you're speaking directly to me. And when I read it, and I would even venture to say that it wasn't just speaking directly to youth leaders. Like, I remember one girl came up to you once and she was like, yeah, I'm not in youth ministry, but I read it and I contextualized it for my family. And I thought that was really cool. But there's a realness, there's a rawness, like a vulnerability to it. Was that intentional?
Yes and no. So, and I would start with no. No, because I did have an audience in mind when I wrote it. I had a very specific target. That's why I actually never expected the book to be on the bestsellers list. That wasn't the aim here. Not to say that it couldn't. But I was like, this is a very niched book. Like, this is a book that's and the principles in the book actually apply to anybody that wants to reach somebody who is falling through the cracks in any level. So I remember that story and another one similar to that, where somebody read it and was like, man, I'm not even doing youth ministry at all, and but this thing is helping me reach my roommate. And I thought, yo, that's fire. Like that this book can actually go and help people reach other people that they're having a hard time reaching. Because that's really the emphasis of the book. How do you reach people that we're actually having a difficult time reaching? And so, it wasn't intentional, but but like I'm happy that it's doing that, and I want more people to read it that can go reach their roommates and families and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great. You always talk about like I love when youth leaders get it. Like I'll hear you're talking to some youth leader who works with students there in the trenches, and you're like, man, you just get it, you know? Like, so what would you say like is a hope? Like a youth worker reads your book, what would you say like that aha moment that you hope a youth worker gets after reading the book?
I think it's that we need to move from sexy, highlighted ministry to in the trenches ministry, to walking alongside of people ministry, to being there when they're broken ministry. And I think what I see from my angle a lot is that we overemphasize the preaching, the opportunities, the open doors, the jobs. Like there's this overemphasis of that, and there's a place for that. I think a person is worthy of their hire. Like, so I'm not at all saying like people shouldn't work in ministry. I think there's actually a lot of value in that, and I think we got to still smell like sheep. And I don't know that we do. I think there's a green room culture in the, even in youth ministry. I've seen, you would think this was like only in the senior pastors when they do their conferences. I've seen the green room culture in youth ministry, where these speakers will come and just post up in the green room the whole day and not be around teenagers at all. Real transformation happens in the trenches when you're walking alongside somebody, when you're doing life on life. I'm convinced of that. I will see more change in my relationship with you than I will see in my message to you. And I just think like when you get it, it's, you get how important relationships are. You get how to be in the trenches with kids. You get like how to come alongside them. Like that's what I think when I think get it. It's not the other stuff that's being highlighted or emphasized or whatever. It's like, man, I would honestly, look, I would take somebody who was so committed to discipleship and being in the trenches with kids over a great communicator 10 times out of 10. Because I think great communicators tend to be opportunists. Yeah. And we've seen it. We've seen people that, I'm in there, so I'm in the trenches until the opportunity comes, and then they're not in the trenches no more.
Yeah, what I hear, like I feel like it's a really layered conversation. It could be a little bit of like nuance, but what I hear is like youth ministry isn't a stepping stone.
Oh, 1,000%.
I think a lot of times people approach it like I'm going to serve the babies, or I'm going to serve the students so that I can get this bigger job, maybe as senior pastor or preacher, pastor. And then I think the other side of it, which I'm hearing, is it's almost similar like Jesus when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was like, if it's possible, like let this cup pass from me. And it's this idea that some people like they tap out, they bow down is because the cup is heavy. Like it's hard, like, and I feel like it's only heavy, right? And so I feel like it's two kind of like conversations at play. Like on the one hand, like people get into it for the wrong reasons because there's a different motive, and then on the other hand, people might want to bow out and go because it's heavy. Like I was just talking to Will over at Manhood Camp, and he was just talking about how he was like, I was in youth ministry for like 6 years or something like that. And he was like, that was one of the hardest ministry jobs that I've ever had in my life, and it's not for the faint at heart. And so I almost hear like this two-folded kind of challenge of being in youth ministry.
Yes and amen. Like and I'd even just kind of be curious on from your perspective, like how do you see that playing out in ministry? Like, well, just like what you just described, is that true from your angle as well? What you said, I fully agree with. Yeah, I see way too many people trying to climb the ministry ladder, play the politic game in ministry, jumping from denomination to denomination, organization to organization, trying to like be the man or the woman or like whatever, like to like, I got to be the one that's the speaker and I'm the leader and I'm the like, and they don't smell like sheep. They're not in the trenches. They're not discipling people. and they're not committed to youth ministry for the long haul. Mm-hmm. I love our organization because it keeps me in youth ministry for the long haul. Mm-hmm. Like I will do youth ministry till I die because I work at Rescue Generation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I love that. But yes, do you see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably a lengthier conversation because I do it is a pain point for me.
Yeah.
To see the ambition and the desire to want the platform. And most people will say over God's presence, right? And I agree with that. And also, too, I feel like they're misguided in a lot of ways. I think that we know it, we see it. There's a lack of discipleship in the church because, we have always kind of really came alongside people and was like, let's give them their gifting, right? So I've been in this kind of conversation gifts are given, fruit is grown, because for years in ministry we've pedestal, we've platformed giftings and people with lack of character. And so now what we're looking at is a generation that they don't know what it looked like to be on the backside of the mountain with the sheep.
Yeah.
They just know the gifting because the giftings are immediately as soon as you receive the gifting, you can step into that immediately. And then on the other hand, it's I kind of lost my thought on there, but yeah, I just there's that and I think all of it is due to a lack of discipleship. We do not disciple in the church anymore. Well, some people are. I won't make a blanketed statement, but I think a lot of it is to a lack of discipleship, and also the church does not teach us how to suffer. The church, you get into ministry, everything's going to be roses and lily, it's going to be great. And then people go through suffering and it hits them like a ton of bricks. And now we're questioning our faith. We don't know how to really navigate because the church has yet to disciple holistically.
It's good.
Right? We haven't discipled character. We haven't discipled how do you deal with, grief and loss and suffering in the church?
Yeah.
And what do you do to navigate it with grace? And so I think, yes, so on the one hand, it's like a stepping stone. It's almost like I'm climbing the ladder, but only in the church, right? So it's the same. It's like the cultural. It's like a cultural mindset. The world talks about climbing the ladder, and it's creeped into the church. And then on the other hand, we haven't taught suffering. So when we see scriptures about the cup passing over, or scriptures about suffering, we want to bypass that rather than sit in it. And so I do think it's more of a layered conversation.
But I just want to say this to what you just said about the suffering part. What people learn and grow in suffering from being out, even going back to the book, being in the trenches with people, you gain a level of authority from those seasons that you don't have without them. And I think David is a great example of that. I'm always reminded when he got called to King Saul to play the harp because King Saul was tormented. Scripture doesn't tell us anywhere that David was classically trained or he wasn't a skilled musician. He actually had no training. So what I imagine happened is he got really good at playing away his own torment on the backside of the mountain. So when King Saul called him, he's not doing something different. He's just doing what he's been doing in suffering, in pain, and in turmoil. And the authority he gained literally dispelled King Saul's torment because he now had a level of victory, a level of overcoming, something, which ironically is why I believe in urban students so much, and why I have such a real deep passion for kids that are come from the gutter and the worst situations, because if you can get them to overcome that, look out, world.
Yeah, no, that's good. Using the cup analogy and to kind of bring us home, if you will, like Jesus in the garden, right? We'll imagine that youth ministry is the cup, right? So for those that are called to carry the cup, to bear the burden of youth ministry, what's your prayer as they, read this book? What is that prayer that you hope that God would do, speak, or maybe that they would even feel championed to do after reading the book?
Yeah, great. Number one, I think, especially using the cup analogy, I pray that more people stay in the fight, and become healthy in the fight. Like, we have a lot of ministers that are limping around, unhealthy, still trying to fight for young people, fight for, people just period. And my prayer is you read the book and you learn that you could actually be healthy and do this. Like, you don't have to be an unhealthy leader. You don't have to die in ministry. You don't have to sacrifice your family for the sake of ministry. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of that I actually really hope, like, that the endurance that comes from, like, drinking the cup and, like, all right, I'm going till the end, till the Lord says something different. So I hope that. The other thing I really hope that people get from reading the book is, like, that we don't have to be as ineffective as we have been in situations where people come out of, like, rough backgrounds. I think there's a level of effectiveness that could be had that the church hasn't seen yet, because we haven't fully lived into like how to actually fight for people, how to actually rescue a generation. And so there's some very practical, like, how-tos in the book that I'm like, you'll just do this and watch how effective you'll be. Yeah. Like, and by effective, I don't mean you're going to win everybody, because, like, it's actually not possible. Even Jesus didn't do that. Like, but man, our numbers could be way higher than they are. And I don't mean, like, numbers of, like, how many kids are coming to your church. I mean, how many disciples are you making? And how many people are devoted to Jesus? And how many people are really walking that out? Like, I think the book will help people be effective in that. And I hope and trust that they would find a lot of fruit in their own life just from reading the book.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed this.
This is fun.
So if I get invited back, I might grill you theologically. You don't know.
Let's
see.
do that. That would be fun.
Where can people get the book?
All over. Amazon, Lifeway. If you see me in person, holler at your boy. Sell them out the back of the trunk. You know what I mean? Like, CDs, DVDs, yeah, no, they're all over. And actually, I hope people get the book. The other thing I would say just about the book, and there's a commercial. One of my favorite things about the book is, like, at the end of every chapter is a QR code that goes to a video with some additional commentary of the chapter. I think, and I've had churches that have bought books for their whole youth team to go through together. Like, and so there's a lot of opportunity here to, like, grow together, to how do we rescue a generation together. Go get it everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank y'all for joining us today for this episode where we got to flip the script. As always, like, comment, share, repost, and we'll see you next time.